Hi and welcome to Coach Jude at Rangitoto. In today's episode I'm going to be talking about choices, how we handle them and how they really influence how successful we are at achieving our goals. This is important because when we're making a choice we rarely consider the whole choice and the options available to us. We tend instead to focus on the immediate benefits and ignore that little voice in our heads that tell us we'll regret our decision in the morning. Want to have fewer regrets? Stay tuned to learn how to make better decisions your new superpower. So you might be asking yourself, what does it matter if I don't consider the whole choice when I make a decision? Well, the problem is that you might end up making the wrong decision for you. Every decision you make can either take you towards or away from your current goals and support or conflict with your principles or values. When this happens, you tend to feel fed up, frustrated, disappointed, and generally out of sorts with yourself. So making the right choice for you that moves you towards your goals and aligns with your values and principles is likely to lead you to a happier and more satisfying life. And isn't that what we all want at the end of the day? And sometimes we don't see the whole choice because we don't have all the relevant information. If you think this is you, or maybe you're just setting out on your weight loss journey, check out my free comprehensive guide to kickstarting your weight loss. I've included a link in the description below. When we consider a course of action, we're not good at seeing the whole choice. We tend to just see a part of it. To illustrate my point, I'm going to use a non-weight loss example, but one I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. Imagine a typical evening. After dinner, you're tired and the kitchen looks like a bomb site. Do you clear up before bed or leave it until tomorrow? At the time, the focus of your decision may be on a simple, should I clear up or not? But of course the decision is not about if, it's about when. With a bit of reflection, the picture becomes clearer. If you clear up before bed, the job is finished and you get to feel good that you knuckled down and got it done. Also, you get the pleasure of coming down next morning to a sparkling kitchen. If you leave it messy and go to bed, you get the momentary relief of not doing the task, but next morning maybe your day doesn't start too well, perhaps you overslept, or the outfit you wanted to wear is in the laundry, and then you walk into the kitchen. You now have to sort out the mess from last night, and you'll wish you'd done it the night before. So when you put it this way, it really is a no-brainer. The effort to do the job is the same whenever you do it, but the night before our focus is much more on the immediate benefits and we fail to consider the consequences until it's too late. We do exactly the same with food. When you are faced with the option of having a piece of cake, you tend to focus on the pleasure of having it now and none of the pleasure or happiness you are foregoing. Also, you conveniently forget to recognise the consequences of your decision. Consequences? What consequences, you might be saying? Well, some of the more immediate consequences will depend on how self-aware you are, but some of the ones you might experience typically are a sugar high, feeling slightly spacey, lightheaded and jittery, ravenous hunger a couple of hours later, leading you to overeat even more because your blood sugar has crashed, itchy skin, hangover-like symptoms the next day, feeling sluggish, lethargic, headachy and demotivated, feeling mildly depressed or moody, being bloated. And what about the long-term consequences? If you regularly eat cake, then you risk becoming overweight, getting type 2 diabetes, or other conditions associated with the metabolic syndrome. Pretty serious stuff, eh? Also, if you eat sugary treats frequently and generally feel sluggish, lethargic, mildly depressed and unmotivated, you may think that this is just the way you are, when actually it's just sugar overload. And this is how we get trapped. Because we believe that we need a sugary treat to cheer ourselves up, when actually we're making ourselves worse. Don't believe me? Try the carb challenge, which is included in my free guide to kickstarting your weight loss, linked in the description below. In this exercise, you work on improving the quality of your carbs. After just a few days, you may be amazed at how you feel. Now, I wish that just knowing what the whole choice was would magically transform our behaviour. But sadly it won't, because our very clever prefrontal cortex gets in the way. It rationalises our bad decisions by promising that we will do much better tomorrow. There was a great experiment done in 2007 where a group of chimpanzees and a group of humans were given a choice. They could decide to eat 2 of their favourite treats now, or if they waited 10 minutes, they got to eat 6 treats. Now, more than 70% of the chimpanzees chose to wait. However, only 19% of the humans did. Now, does this mean that chimps have more self-control than humans? Well, no, but we humans have more mental tricks to convince ourselves that the time to resist is tomorrow. However, there are ways that you can get your prefrontal cortex to work in your favour. One is to wait 10 minutes. If after 10 minutes you still want that treat, then go ahead and have it. Honestly though, most of the time if you do wait, you'll find that your desire has completely vanished. Give it a go. Another way is to keep the treat hidden. If you can't see the treat, then you're much less likely to indulge. As I've said before, I suffer from a very common disease which I call seafood eat food. If I can't see it, I'm much less likely to indulge. Why do you think that coffee shops have all those delicious cakes on display rather than keeping them hidden out of sight? Because they know exactly how to tempt us. Lastly, in general, we tend to be loss averse. The old saying, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. So if you reframe your choice by thinking first about what you will lose, this can often help you make the best decision. I found this particularly useful in helping me maintain my weight loss. I know that if I overeat, I will no longer be able to climb my beloved Lakeland Fells. The grief I feel as I contemplate this helps me body swerve overindulgences on a regular basis. What are you putting in jeopardy by overeating? Often the things you're jeopardising the most is your health. But as I've said in a previous video, this one is tricky because most of us don't believe that we have any real influence over our health. So we don't really put any effort into maintaining it. So what do you have now that would really hurt you if you lost it? I think my reason is powerful because I spent an awful lot of my life really wanting to climb those fells. And now that I can, I intend to hang on to this activity as long as I possibly can. Another strategy to help you see the whole choice and take the best course of action is to pre-commit. In other words, to have a plan and then make it incredibly difficult to do a U-turn and retreat to your unhelpful behaviour when the going gets tough. Essentially, burn your bridges behind you so you have no choice but to keep going. There have been some hilarious examples of extreme behaviour to ensure that folks stick with the task in hand. For example, the author Victor Hugo reportedly had all his clothes removed from his house so that he would focus on writing The Hunchback of Notre Dame. This takes some reflection and forethought though, and you need to study yourself so you can understand your weaknesses and work with them, instead of trying to convince yourself that you'll magically behave different in the future. An example for limiting your overeating is to simply not buy the foods that tend to get you into trouble in the first place. Avoiding the crisp chocolate and biscuit aisle in the supermarket takes just a few moments of willpower, but when temptation strikes at home, it makes it far harder to indulge. You can even buy a device like Captured Discipline, which is a solid steel safe that you can lock up your indulgences for between 2 minutes and 99 hours. And if you're trying to follow through on, say, an exercise plan, then prepaying and pre-booking sessions with a personal trainer will make it much harder to back out. Or go with friends and offer to be the one to drive to the gym. So if you don't go, you will really be letting others down. Visiting a coffee shop and want to avoid the cake? Take just the right amount of cash to pay for your coffee and leave all other forms of payment behind. It's worth spending a bit of time thinking about some of the things that might work for you. What can you come up with? So next time you are faced with a choice, think about the questions you could ask yourself. What are all the options available to you? What are the benefits of each option, and what are the consequences of each option? Which choice moves you closer to your goals and supports your values and principles? What are you willing to fight for? What would you hate to lose? And what bridges can you burn to help you stay on track? A lot to think about, I know, but the more you practice this, the easier it becomes, and the sooner you will find yourself in the place you want to be. Perhaps just take one situation where you seem to end up making the same flawed decision every time. Really dig deep and try to understand what is driving your behaviour and what other options you could explore. And remember, if you need more ideas because you're just setting out on your weight loss journey, or perhaps you've stalled, check out the link below to my free comprehensive guide to kickstarting your weight loss. And on that thought, I will leave you. As always, I thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like this episode if you found it useful, subscribe if you want to learn more, and don't forget to share your progress, your triumphs, and your insights with me. All the best. Until next time. Bye.